My name is Mike Brodsky. I'm a criminal defense attorney here in Bellingham. To a great extent, I think the overcrowding in Whatcom County Jail is self-inflicted by the policies of the county. I want to start by saying I think the jail staff is great, and my experiences with jail staff people have been wonderful. It is an old, decrepit, out-of-date facility. There's no question about that. That needs to be addressed. My issue is how it's the proposals to address it. I think that the proposed jail is simply too big and too expensive. There are ways to reduce the number of people that have to be there. So I think there are certain policies in place that were put in place by Whatcom County. There's a policy of mandatory booking for every single first offense DUI in this county, and that creates a lot of extra people going in, spending 1 or 2 days in the jail before they're able to bail out, if they are able to bail out. That's another issue, and that's another thing that's kind of unique to Whatcom County. Skagit County doesn't have mandatory booking. King County doesn't have mandatory booking. Snohomish County doesn't have mandatory booking. I don't believe Island County does either. What makes Whatcom different? Virtually every county in the state gives a standard 1/3 off good time. Whatcom County gives a quarter off. Awful things happen. Doesn't mean you have to create a policy that helps add to the need to build a $200 million jail. I don't mean to be trite, but if you build it, they will come. If you have that many beds, you will fill them. You have empty beds, that's just a waste of money. And it'll just, I think, encourage more and more incarceration in a country that I think and hope and is rightly moving towards less incarceration. There are some things about the new jail plan I think are good. More mental health treatment, more substance abuse treatment. Those are critically important. They don't require the new jail on the scale that they have planned here. Reduce unnecessary admissions to the jail. That goes to all the enormous number of people that are being held pre-trial on very minor charges, and also the mandatory booking for DUI cases, and also all the bookings for warrants. And there's also an underutilization of the summons process here, where the police tend to arrest everybody, and arrest warrants are issued rather than summonsing people who have been cooperative prior to their charge, and are not necessarily an instant danger to society or to the community. Send them a letter and say, come to court. They don't come to court, then maybe you issue a warrant and you arrest them. But everybody in those situations, people who don't have a history of failing to appear, people who have addresses, solid addresses, those people can be summoned in. They don't have to go to jail. They don't have to be booked into jail. Curtail the number of new and outstanding warrants for low-level charges. The question is, do we have to have arrest warrants sent out for driving license suspended in the 3rd degree, or something similarly minor? I think that there is a routine request for very large bails in this county, where I've had clients in 2 different counties, Whatcom County and Skagit County. One in Skagit County is facing more serious violent crimes. The one in Whatcom County is facing property crimes, which I think we all agree are not right, but they're less serious. The public is less in need of protection, and they have the same bail in 2 different counties that are adjacent to each other. There's a whole issue of bail in itself that we find being addressed around the country in places like Washington, D.C. and New Jersey that are all but just about done away with bail, because they realize there are better ways of making folks show up for court. Putting bail on somebody doesn't make the community safer. just because I can afford to get out on bail, that doesn't make me any less likely to go and harm somebody if that's what I want to do. And so I guess the only way to completely 100% guarantee that somebody can't harm somebody is simply don't let anybody out of jail, and that's not a reasonable possibility, and it's against the law here. I mean, our Constitution, our law in the state of Washington basically says that we favor release, that people should be released unless they are, unless there's a really good reason not to. Basically, I think rather than building a bigger jail, we need to have a smaller population going to jail.